Hi everyone, my name is Sean Hayes. My company is Share Web Design, formerly known as Compass Designs. We're actually going through some branding change right now, so our new name is actually Share Web Design. But today I'll be showing you how to log in and post a blog post. And this is primarily for my clients, but if you're out there in the YouTube world and you happen to come across this video, it will help you as well. It's for how to post a WordPress blog and how to edit it and add a picture if with a little bit of functionality with the featured image on a blog reel. But let's get started. Um, as you can see, I'm at Neil Fine Art. This is actually one of my clients, and I'm making this video for her so she can learn how to post a blog and learn how to log into her back end of her WordPress site. And actually, this site that you see here was designed by Marguerite Montepano. It wasn't actually designed by my company. I just actually built the blog for this site. As you can see, I added the blog here. This is actually a static HTML site that I added a WordPress blog to. Normally, with most of my sites, the whole site is built with a WordPress platform. But with this site, we just added the blog. So if we want to log into the actual WordPress site, normally you would just go here to the main site and then type in wp-admin, and then you would hit enter and it would take you to the login screen. But because this is a static HTML site and we we've added the blog to an internal folder, we need to type in the actual domain name, then /blog, and then /wp-admin. And you see it's going to autofill for us. And then once you get to that site, then you're going to get to your WordPress login screen. And then you'll just need to know your username and password. This is actually a live site, for one of my clients, so we're going to cut out for a second, but you would want to just enter your username and your password here. But we're going to cut out for a second just so we don't show the username and password. So now that we have typed in our username and password, if you type that correctly, you should have ended up on your dashboard. And this is the WordPress admin area, basically all where all the functionality and all the good stuff happens. um, so as you can see, this gives you a lot of information about your website or your actual blog area in this case, not the full website. And it just lets you know, right now, how many posts you have, any comments, any spam, lots of little things that we need to update WordPress because we're actually using WordPress 3.5. I mean, you may have noticed on my YouTube channel that I have another video for how to post a WordPress blog, but it was actually made, I believe, in WordPress 3.2, and they've changed the how to upload an image in the newer WordPress in 3.4 and up, I believe, and it's quite a bit different. So that's the reason why I'm making this new video on how to post a blog, just so it gives you an idea of how to use the new WordPress platform. But we also have this quick press thing here, and if you wanted to just do a quick little blog, this is a way to do it there. I don't use quick press. I tend to like actually using the actual real post area, so I'm not going to actually go over that today, just because it's not my preference. It also shows you any news. This is actually an RSS feed from WordPress, and it feeds to this little area, just any news about WordPress. Just plugins that are new or updated, shows that kind of stuff here. Other WordPress news, lots of cool little features. But what we're going to focus on for this video is really just this top area here from comments and above. This area down here is pretty much just about the functionality of the website, just the appearance, and if you have any users that are added and tools and settings and things like that. And we're going to ignore this area here. And on your WordPress site, you probably have a lot more other little menu items here. I've hid a lot of them for my clients just so it makes it a little easier to navigate. But if you are watching this video and you're not one of my clients, or if you're a client that has a full site, your menu will look quite a bit different than this. But so let's start at the top. Basically, this home button brings you to this dashboard. So if we click on there, we're going to end up in the same place because it's our dashboard. And then the updates button, this is pretty much just the area that's going to let you know what updates you need. Right now, we're using WordPress 3.5. This is telling us that we need to update to WordPress 3.5.1, and we're just going to ignore that for now. We also have a Kismet on the site. That's something that comes default with WordPress. I don't actually use a Kismet on my site, but it is a great piece of software. If you are interested, you can look into that. We're just going to ignore that as well because we don't actually use that feature. So let's go back to the dashboard, and we can either hit the back button or we can hit the home button right here, and we go back to our dashboard. And the next menu down here is your post menu, and this is where we're going to be focusing on primarily for this video. And then if we go to all posts, this is going to show all of our posts that we've posted to this, up to date. So this is the one post that we did for this site. This is the default post that comes with when you install WordPress, the Hello World post. We've changed it a little bit, added an image, but it's pretty much still the Hello World post. But once you start adding posts, you'll see a lot more here, and this page will start to fill up. There's a lot of things you can do here. You can actually trash this post, or you can edit it or use quick edit. I always use edit. I tend to stay away from quick edit. Or you can actually view the post. If you click on view, you're going to actually go to the post page on the front end of the site. And there's lots of ways. There's this bulk feature up here. You can edit, an item. You can move, items to the trash if you want to select multiple items. If you have multiple items here, move them to the trash. You can change the way that this is categorized, or the way that it looks on the page, as far as order. There's lots of little different things you can do here. But let's go back to the dashboard and go over to the posts again. And we're going to get to this add new feature in a minute, but I want to go over just how categories work for this site and possibly your own site. So if we go to categories, and as you can see, a lot of the times in most sites, when you first install it, it just says uncategorized right here. And in order to make it easy on my sites, I always change uncategorized to either blog or news or update or whatever your category is going to be called. And I usually just use one category for this, so I don't ever have to click on anything, and it makes it easy. Unless you have a portfolio or other, you really want to categorize your blog posts for SEO or whatever the reasons you're doing it for. I tend to just use one category, and then once this is set up, and for my clients, you never have to come into this area because once it's set up, that's it. You set the category name, and then you never have to think about it again. So we're going to ignore this area for now, and we're not going to really come back to this at all and go over categories at all for this video. So if we go back to dashboard, go down to posts, and then tags. Tags are a cool feature for search engine optimization as well. We're not going to go over them for this video either. Basically what tags do is when you type in something that has a tag, you can, or type in a tag on a blog post. Let's say it's related to real estate, then you would type in that tag. Or if it's related to dogs, you would type in dogs. And it's kind of a way to categorize your posts, almost another way to categorize your posts in WordPress. But we're not going to go over that today. We're just going to go over how to post a blog and how to add an image to that blog. So if we go down to media here, because we're through the post menu, we go down to media. Then the first little category here is library, and the second one is add new. So we're actually going to go to library and see what's in our library. And for us, we only have this one image because we've only posted one blog post, and this is the image that we added to that blog post. So in here you could go in to edit that image, and you can either change like the alternate text or the title. There's lots of little different things you can do to it, or you can actually trash it, and it has the same bulk features here as well as our post menu did. But that's pretty much it for that. It's really simple. Most of the time you probably won't even come into the media area, but I just wanted to go over it real quick. And there's actually, if you go back, you can actually add new media here or you can add it from, if we go back to the dashboard, you can actually add it from the drop-down menu here as well. You can add new media. But most of the time, you're just going to be doing that directly from the post. You're not going to usually add new media through the media area. It's more to edit media. And then comments. If we go to comments, as you can see, we don't have any comments for this site because it's so new. But it's, pretty much has the same features, the bulk feature and, the categorize feature, or the sort feature. And normally you would go in here, and if you want to edit a comment that somebody, actually posted, let's say they misspelled something or something like that, or, it was a spam comment, so you're going to spam it, and you're going to mark it as spam. Or with comments, they don't automatically go to your site. You have to actually approve them. So if somebody actually posts a comment to your site, you're going to get an email saying that somebody posted a comment to your site, and then you need to actually log into your site and approve the comment. And that's just to avoid spammers, or people that are, I don't know, not too happy with your company and they post something bad. You wouldn't want that to go up on your site. So that's the reason for the approval process and the spam process of the actual comments area. So when you get a comment, you can just kind of go in here and you can edit it or approve it, or it's pretty self-explanatory. But let's go back to the dashboard. And as I said, the appearance area and the users area, this is all really about the functionality of the site. We're not going to go over that today because we're not really getting into that. We're just really going over how to post a blog and how to insert an image to that blog. So what we want to do, there's two ways we can add a new blog post. We can actually go here and press this add new, which is probably the way you're going to do it most of the time, or you can go into posts and then hit this little add new here. So it gives you both options. We'll just hit the add new here so we can start it. And as you can see, it brings us to this add new post area. And it's really simple the way that this is set up. This is actually called a WYSIWYG editor. And what that means is it's an acronym for what you see is what you get. And it pretty much just works like Word. It's really simple. You have to add a title here first, and then you can put all your content in here. So we're actually going to make this blog about, we have an image that's a piece of art that Neil Ketchum did from Neil Fine Art. That's a painted chair. So we're just going to call it, and it's actually a painted rocking chair, but we're just going to call it painted chair. And you're going to want to name your posts things that are, what people are going to search for. That's because this is going to be your title tag for your actual website, or for your actual post. So that's very important to the search engine. So try to think of something that people are actually going to search for. And as you can see, it automatically added our permalink, which is actually where the URL is going to be for this post. And it follows the title, basically structure here. This is painted dash chair. And then that's under blog. So now that we have our title and we have our permalink that was added, we want to add some content. And in order to do that, you're going to click on this little area here. This is actually our WYSIWYG editor, and what that is an acronym for what you see is what you get. And it basically just works like Word. It's very simple to use. It's made for and designed for the end user, not for programmers or web designers like me. It's designed for all you out there that don't have any interest in HTML or CSS or anything like that. It's very easy to use. And so what we do is you just click in this area, and I've actually pre-copied some lorem ipsum text just for this demonstration. And so what I'm going to do is just paste that in here, and then we can go through and edit just like Word. We can change the formatting. You just hit delete, and hit delete there, and it moves back up. If we want to make this bold right here, we just hit the bold button. If we want to move it, we take the bold off. If we want to make it italic, we can make it italic. Remove the italic. It's got some, you can actually do an unordered list here if you want to try doing that. And some quotes. This you can change the way that it's aligned, whether you want it left or centered or right aligned. There's lots of little different things you can do here, and if you highlight something, you can add a link, with this little ink. You don't have to, actually know the HTML, how to make an anchor text or anything like that. So we can just hit this little button right here, and then so let's say we want to link to, let's say, share web design, and then we always want to, when we make a link, we always want to put a title because that helps for search engine optimization. So we'll just put web design company, and as you can see, I've typed that before, so I remembered. And this is important to remember too. We make links that are to sites that are outside of ours. We don't want the user to leave our site. So we want it to open in a new window. So we want to click this little button here so it opens in a new window. And then we just press add. And then as you can see, it's hard to see, but as you can see, it's changed into a link. And now when you click on there after we make the page live, it's going to be a link. And so, yeah, that's pretty much it for this little area. It's really self-explanatory. The only other thing that I want to show you is this is the WYSIWYG editor, but there's actually an area where you can enter HTML, if you know how to use that. And sometimes you'll have to because the formatting doesn't quite right, doesn't work quite right or something like that. And so how we're going to do that is we're going to go into this little text area. And most of the time, you won't need to use this. And as you can see, it looks pretty similar, to what we see before. The only thing that has changed is this link here actually has, our code to make a link. It has our anchor text right here, and then the target is going to be blank, so it opens a new page, and this is our actual URL where we want to go, and that's our title, Web Design Company. So it did all that for us. It was that easy, and it gives you some other features up here as well. We're not going to really get into those right now. We're just going to go back to our visual editor over here, and as you can see, it got rid of all that anchor text information, our title information, and the URL. And we're just going to go over this for now. And the other items that I want to go over is these menus over here. So basically, this publish area over here. Let's say we just want to save this as a draft and come back later because we're not done. We added some content, but we want to change it later, but we're not quite ready to publish it. So what we want to do is hit this save draft button, and then it would save the draft. We can come back later and change it. So that's what that button's for. To preview, let's say we don't want to publish it, but we want to see what it looks like, on an actual live page. So we can hit this little preview button right here, and then it opens up in a new tab for me, and I can see that this is what it's going to look like. This is what I've made. Here's my link, it shows all the information. So I can just close that out and then go back to my other page. And that's what the preview button does. This is the status. Right now we're just in a draft. It hasn't been saved as a draft, so we haven't gotten to that point yet. It hasn't been published. Visibility right now is public. We can make this private if we only want, let's say the people that are actually users on the site to use it. We won't get into that either. You won't really need to use any of these buttons right here. We want it to be published immediately, but we can actually schedule when we want this to be published. Let's say we want it to go out at 5 o'clock, tomorrow. You can actually hit this edit button right here and change, what time you want it to go out at, and you can change it just by going through the menu right here. But we want it to go, immediately, so we're just going to hit cancel right now. And then if we wrote a bunch of stuff out and we decided we didn't want it and we just want to get rid of the actual whole post, you can hit this move to trash button and it'll actually put it in your trash and delete your post. And then this publish button is when we're ready, when everything is done and we want it to be published, it'll publish there. And the next little tab down here is our categories tab, and this is something that most of my clients are never going to have to think about because we only have one category and it's going to automatically put it into that category when you hit publish. So but for other users, they have more than one category, so you're going to want to pick which one you want it to go into. This tags button here, this is what I was talking about earlier. If you want to tag your posts with different things, this is a good search engine technique. If you want to target certain things, like for this this blog, we could actually say things like painted furniture or something like that for this post, but we're not going to use that right now. Or you could use other things too. If you're writing about a dog, you could put dogs or something like that, and it's a good way to let the search engines know like the way that the link structures work in your site. But we're not going to really get into that. It's kind of complicated. but that's what tags do. And then the featured image, we haven't added an image yet, and I'm gonna get back to this featured image in a second. So basically, let's talk about adding an image to the post. So basically, where I want the image to be, I want to put my cursor in that area. So we want it to be at the very beginning of the post right there. So now that I have clicked on the very beginning of the post, I can press Add Media. And then this Add Media screen comes up. And this has changed a bit from the old WordPress. So if you are using an older version of WordPress, this is going to look very different. And that was, as I mentioned earlier, the reason why I'm making this new video is just because it's so much different than the old version. So this is they've made it really simple. It's really cool. I really like the way that WordPress 3.4 and newer works as far as inserting media. This is our media library. This is going to show all the images that we've already uploaded to our site. So right now we only have this one. So this is not the image we want. We want the image from our computer that's in a folder on our desktop. So what we want to do is go over to this upload file area right here, upload files. Let me click on that button. And then you could actually drop and drag an image from your desktop onto this area and it will upload. It's kind of a cool feature. It's not usually what I use just because it's not as quick for me. I tend to like, going through menus and things like that. So for me, I want to hit this select files and then it'll give me a pop-up menu like this, and it's going to take me to my actual folder. I'm actually already at the folder that I need, but for some of you, it may be somewhere else on your computer, so you're going to want to go through your navigation. I'm using Mac OS X Mountain Lion, so this is the way that mine looks. If you're on a PC, it's going to look different. So, basically what I want to do is just grab my image here. This is the rocking chair image that I was speaking of, and just press open. And then it's going to upload the image. And then basically, as you can see, here's my image, and I have it ready to insert into my post. But we want to do a couple things first before we hit this insert button down here. We want to change the title tag because this is going to help for search engine optimization. The title, we want to name this title tag for the image the same as we name the page. You want to keep it pretty consistent. So we're just going to call it painted chair. And then we also want to make this alt text the same as our title. So this, in case for some reason the image doesn't load or something like that, this alternate text will show up instead saying that it's supposed to be a painted chair. The alignment, we want this left because it's on the left side. The link to, you don't really need to worry about this. This can either link to a custom URL, the actual file, if you wanted to link. I'm actually just going to press none because I don't want my image to link to anything. And then the sizes here. When you upload something to WordPress, it's going to upload the original image size, which is the full size, and then a medium size, depending on whatever the original size was, and then this thumbnail size, which is always going to be 150 by 150, depending on how you set up your thumbnail. You can change the size, but the default is 150 by 150, and that's actually what it is on this site. But we want the medium image. We want to upload a medium-sized image or insert a medium-sized image into this post. So click the medium, and then we just hit this insert post button or insert image button. And then, as you can see, it inserted our image. So this is not what it's going to look like when we actually, post it live to our site. It's going to look very different than this, just because of the way that style sheets are already set up and everything for this site. So if we want to see what it looks like, we can just hit this preview image button, and as you can see, this is what it's going to look like, and we like how that looks, so we close that, and then we just hit this publish button, and as soon as we hit this publish button, it's going to automatically put it into our blog category. So let's go ahead and hit that. And as you can see, it put it in our blog category. So now this is live on our site, so if we want to actually view the post, the actual live post on our site, we just go to this view button right here, and then it takes us to the actual post. And now we have our image here. This site actually, if we go to our blog reel, which is our main blog where you choose which post you want to see, if we go to the main blog reel, as you can see, it automatically put this image right here, which is our thumbnail image, because that's the functionality of this site. For most people's site, it's not going to do that. And what I want to show you right now is actually how this works on this site. So, and how it's going to work on a lot of other sites as well. So we want to go back up to this edit post button right here. And you see this, we're going to get back over to this featured image button. So for this site, as I said, it automatically puts the first image of the site that's in the post to that actual blog reel. But let's say we have a couple images here, on the site. We want to tell WordPress which one we want on the blog reel. So it's a good habit to get in to just set this featured image. So you just hit the set featured image button, and it's already going to be in our media library because we uploaded it already. So all we want to do is just click that button and then just set as featured image, and then it's going to set that. And now if on your site you don't have the automatic featured image set up like to where it's the first image in the post, then this is where you're going to want to actually insert it so it goes to your blog reel if you have that functionality on your site. So now we want to hit update again. And then now we're done. Now we can go over to view posts. And it didn't change any just because we added just the feature thing. It's still the same post. If we go to the blog reel, it's still the same image. And that's pretty much it. It's very simple to use WordPress. It's set up for the end user. And it's set up to be really easy. You can go back to your dashboard, and you can go to all posts, and you can go in and edit any of the posts that you've already done. You can add images to those posts. It's very simple, very very user friendly to use, and that's pretty much it. It's very simple. As I said, if you have any questions, please feel free to contact me. My email address is Shawn@sharewebdesign.com. That's Shawn, SHAWN, at share, SHARE, web, design, DESIGN.com. And as I said, feel free to contact me with any questions you may have, and I'll be happy to help. All right, thanks for watching, and I hope you learned something, and good luck with all your blogging.